Roza Tawil has a video on Smokey's channel talking about the injunction. It's excellent if anyone wants to see. She's well-spoken, thoughtful, concise, and might actually have the silver bullet. I totally agree, Big Mac. She laid it out. She basically said, like, your argument is there aren't shorts. Then what was the extraordinary event? Right? We were talking about this the other day. Like, get the opposing attorney to tell you what the extraordinary event is. And if it is to protect investors, then why didn't you halt trading the day before when the stock got shorted 80%? Right? If you're protecting the investors, why didn't you actually protect them? Because you didn't protect me by making sure I didn't become a millionaire. Right? I'm going to protect him by ensuring that his investment is worthless and not worth millions of dollars as should have been, because it's for his own good. He doesn't know what to do with that money. So obviously we have to make sure that he doesn't get any of it. That's a bullshit argument. And if you can get them to tell you specifically what the extraordinary event was going to be, they're going to have to say the extraordinary event was going to be, we don't have the money to buy your shares. And we're going to have to blow up some banks to do it. Tough shit. This is your bed. You lie in it. Right? You're the ones who did this. You knew. You've known since July this was coming. And yet all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. That just shows me that you're bad at your job. Right? And why should I have to pay for you being bad at your job? You should pay. You dropped the ball. You didn't do any diligence whatsoever to make sure that none of the shorting was happening. So that's your job. That's your fudging job, man, to make sure that this stuff is not shorted, not naked shorted, no FTDs. Why? Because it's against the law. If you are facilitating law breaking as a regulator, then you are not regulating anything. Therefore, your job is to make sure they close those positions and give us our freaking money. That's what it is. So that Monkey Butt and I can get in a giant 4-wheel drive RV and go live our dreams. That is what Roza is fighting for right now. Okay. Danger the Banjo, click the live button. I clicked it. Danger the Banjo, check Fidelity and Acme is gone. I can still see I have shares with them, but the ticker no longer exists. Can't do anything with it. Yep. So tomorrow gets the delete officially, or the cancellation, or whatever it is. Okay, Big Mac 8000. It's a long shot, but she wrote a 148-page injunction in 2 days. Haven't read it all yet, but she has a really clear handle on the entire issue, which is a feat in of itself. Yeah, I mean, she threw the sucker together over the weekend. Desperate is trying to find a way. She had to get admitted. She was not admitted to file in federal court. She had to get the court to admit her so that she could actually file this injunction. And she managed to sweet talk the clerk, I guess, at the federal courthouse, who had the day off, to let her in. So she got this thing filed just in time before the end of close. And so hopefully she'll get a hearing tomorrow before everything turns private on Wednesday. So, the order from the federal judge, I mean, she probably will write the order that she wants the judge to sign, give that to the judge, and the judge may just go, rubber stamp. There you go. That's the order. If we're super lucky. If not, he may need some input from the other side. But emergency injunction is an emergency for a reason. It's very time sensitive, so that's why she'll probably get a hearing at like 9 a.m. tomorrow and get a ruling by like noon. So that's what we're hoping for, anyways. But again, if anyone can find the Zoom link, send it my way. I would love to see it, or post it in the comments later on the show. All right, well, Mr. Batman. Rosa's here. Oh crap! Hey, Roza, you're up late. Bet you're one of those moments you can't sleep. Holy crap! I see you're back in here. Fantastic. We were singing your praises. I just got finished watching your interview right before I got on here. So the animals and I are saying hello and tipping our hat and wishing you all the best, man. So Roza enjoyed Houston's rendition of my hearing. Oh, thank you. I can do birthday parties and shows. Thank you so much for filing. is just super duper 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 fantastic. And please, if you get a Zoom link for the hearing, I would love to be able to watch. That will be like must see TV for me. You know, you'll see a black screen that says observer, and one of those will be me. So just rad that you're in here, rad that you filed that injunction, and I am so happy. Like, I watched your interview and I was like, oh my goodness, this is everything we've been talking about since Friday. She's bringing it up. You're gonna hit a home run, man. I know the hurdle is going to be explaining short selling to the judge. I just have a feeling that's going to be the giant hurdle to get over, is getting the judge to understand what short selling should be and what it's become and why this matters, man. It's She-Hulk. That's a good comparison. Yeah, She-Hulk turning out law. And getting the judge to understand that, because, you know, I swear, like, when I originally wrote my Twitter thread explaining the GameStop squeeze, I wrote it with my dad in mind, because he reads the news and he's like, what the hell is going on? And I explain it to him. He's like, okay, I get it. And like 2 days later, we have dinner. He's like, you know what? I don't get it. Can you explain it to me again? And I would explain it again. And then, like, you know, a few days go by, he'd be like, you know what? I need you to explain that whole thing to me one more time. And so finally I was like, I was going to put this in the words and send. And I launched that Twitter thread there. And then all of a sudden people were like, oh, that's why there's a short squeeze. So, you know, without having to get the judge to go through like 2.5 years worth of horribly offensive super stonk posts, you just, that's the argument, man. That's my advice as a not legal person who has no ability to do legal stuff whatsoever. Now you're getting wedding proposals there, Rosa. Just get the judge to understand the illegality of the naked short selling that's happened, and that this was how they fixed that. Because, man, I want something to go our way so bad, don't you? It's just, you know what, Rosa, if you'll agree, can we do a postmortem show on Wednesday? If you get your order and or you get your hearing tomorrow, can we do a postmortem show on Wednesday? Come by and we'll talk about like how everything went and what you think the next steps are. That would be fantastic. I would love it. I would absolutely just be like on cloud 9 to be able to talk about this stuff. So this is so yeah. Yes, hopefully you have our news to share. Okay, cool. What's the best way to contact me now? Right now, people have just been sending me messages via Facebook or Instagram, which Twitter was so much better, but I'm not allowed on there anymore. So yeah, Takeshi, I got Rose in here. Thank you, Takeshi. Takashi. So send me a note through one of those ways, and we'll get set up. Okay. Man, is there questions people want? I'm glad she's in here. I mean, I guess we'll just keep going through the chat here and seeing what comes up. And because these people, you folks are smart, and you guys think about a lot of this stuff, and you come up with all sorts of crazy questions that, you know, a judge might come up with as well. So let's see here. Big Mac 8000, if a judge cracks it, suddenly brokers, market makers, and everyone involved have to explain why they aren't covering traditionally shorted shares, which leads to far more trouble and arms future legal. So long shot, yes, but it's a silver bullet. I agree. And it establishes at least precedent of some kind that someone needs to be doing their job and ensuring that this illegal shorting doesn't continue. And our job is to get our elected officials to scrap Reg Show and make it so market makers can't illegally short now. They can't just create synthetics out of thin air. I think that's one of the biggest problems, is that not only are the market makers creating these illegal shorts, but they are also um, uh, 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 lending their ability to create naked shorts to hedge funds. So a hedge fund can like pay money and rent the ability to create naked shorts from the hedge fund, essentially doing these weird equity swaps, and then they can short this stuff to kingdom come without ever having to close until stock goes private. But then they skirt the rules as well. MMTLP'd my shorts. Thank God Roza's doing this and not Houston in one of his shirts. You don't want me to like, I don't know, going on with a lime green shirt with a giant butterfly collar and like Guamese women making tortillas on it. Your Honor, please take me seriously. I've got a Jimmy Buffett concert to get to. They'll take me seriously. Don't know if lime green is my color. I could pull out. I'm a Seattleite. We get our lime green Sounders and our Seahawks, so we have to kind of adopt the lime green thing. I do have a Christmas tie that sings Christmas carols when you press a button, so that should win people over, right? Okay. Joshua Jimmy, can you bow down to Supreme Court Overlord Daddy Elon and get your original count back? I tried. They don't. I don't think Elon's ever gonna let me back. The best thing I can do is try to subvert their mods and create new accounts. And I have one. I just have not tinkered with Jersey. I'm sorry I haven't tinkered with it, but I've got the Polish account. I need to I just got crap I gotta get done, man. It's hard. It's hard to get this stuff done. It takes a while to set up a fake account and get it all right, and then you make 4 tweets, and then they delete you, and you gotta do it all over again. So it just takes time. Okay. Chief 117. What if short hedge funds are sold the shares they need to close their position, therefore giving us all legit next bridge, and the money from the sale is used to pay us a dividend, since Acme has tons of Acme parent company has tons of Acme. I don't think that's going to happen. From the language I've seen from John Berta, I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is to get people their money and close the shares. Do it the hard way, not the easy way. So I don't think the plan is to somehow magically sell 335 million shares that could be authorized without there actually being a market. That just doesn't make sense to me. What as how that would go. But it would be kind of a honeypot holdings. Roza, you're a lawyer. We'll talk about honeypot holdings. I don't know if you've ever been in the chat when we were talking about that, but it's my master plan to force the short hedge funds to pay me billions of dollars. Okay. Ideas Matter 7707. Hi, Houston. If the brokers have to buy our shares back, should I just let them contact me? How would you ask for 1,000 for each of your shares? Well, Tony Twits or someone was saying that folks had been getting contacted by their brokers to sell shares and made an offering and then sign an NDA. No one contacted me, but maybe they're going after the big whales first, people that might have like 1 million shares or something or more, and talking to them. And I'm just a small fry with my 1,000 shares. But they're going to need all of them if they're going to close this stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Lost Waves, you see the borrowed Acme stock today. What the and people reported barcoding around $2 level. I saw a listing that there were still shares available to borrow, and that the borrow rate is like 35% or something. Right? Things that make you go, Hoshi Gaming. Oh, wait. Sorry. I skipped one. Where was I? Billy Illy. If you haven't contacted your Congress rep about FINRA, please do. Manipulation needs to stop already. Yes. Remember, and Roza made this point in an interview, FINRA is a private company that's given special powers to regulate the market. They are not a governmental agency. They may have the look, feel, gravitas of a governmental agency, but they are a private company. And the people who sit on the board of FINRA also sit on market makers and hedge funds and big index funds and they're investment bankers. So essentially, it's Fox watching the hen house in the situation. So if we can make the federal government aware of the conflict of interest involved, such as folks like Aria Rubinstein, who may be involved in this, then, that's a good reason to get hearings. Be like, hey, why are you wearing two hats when it comes to this? Why are you regulating yourself? And when it comes to opportunity to regulate yourself, why are you giving yourself the benefit of the doubt here, man? That it's organized crime is what it is. That is how you create a kleptocracy, is that you allow the criminals to monitor themselves. Lunar Swine, Pig Moon here. What happens if FINRA lawyers argue that they were just in fact protecting investors, just the short institutional investors? Well, then it becomes a numbers game, right? Are you going to protect 6 hedge funds for 60,000 plus investors? Right? Who deserves the protecting? The people who are committing the crime, or the people who are the victims of the crime, right? And I think a big thing is if the lawyers argue that there's an extraordinary event, you have to get that lawyer to explain what the extraordinary event was going to be, right? Because if S3 and Fintel say, oh, there's only 6 million shorted shares, that should have been no big deal to close over 2 days. Why? Because they did 13 million shares on Thursday. So why shouldn't they be able to close 6 million in no time? Lickety split, right? But if something more significant than that, and if they're creating QSIPs to push these synthetic shares in the obligations warehouse, then that's proof that the extraordinary event was going to be these hedge funds were going to blink out of existence. Their prime brokers are going to be held liable for upwards of like $2 trillion in liability if in fact there were 250 million, 300 million synthetic shares as have been estimated. So that's kind of where we are. Like it's like the DeSantis case when the judge asked the lawyers to define woke, and the lawyers were forced to say that, well, wokeness is the belief that there's systemic problems and those should be fixed. Like, yeah. So what is the extraordinary event? What is it, man? What is the extraordinary event? Oops, gonna slap the mic though. Get the lawyer to tell you from FINRA what it is. And they're going to have to say, well, the extraordinary event was going to be a liquidity crisis that was going to collapse all these hedge funds and cause a cascade through the market. Okay, cool. Then that should happen, right? Because you guys created the problem, and now these are the consequences of your problem. So all of your money is now all of our money, and then we can open up the investment banks and the hedge funds and everything else. You guys lost the chance by breaking the law a whole bunch of times. That's kind of the extraordinary event. What is the extraordinary event? Please tell me in lurid detail so that I can use that against you. Extinction level event. It is Deep Impact. Steve Gahagan, Houston, the case for we bought for short squeeze sounds like it could be colluding. Case for protecting retail rights and giving them due process is stronger. No, I mean, you can buy stocks for whatever reason you want. And if you believe that there's going to be a short squeeze, that's as good a reason to buy a stock as any. Why? Because there's blatant market manipulation by the short sellers. Like the short sellers all selling a bunch of shares illegally, that can be considered collusion. That right there, that is straight up collusion. Retail investors trying to combat that with buying and holding, that's not, I don't think that's considered collusion. In the argument from the Overstock case, the argument the short hedge funds gave was that Overstock giving the crypto dividend was unfair because it hurt them. And the judge was like, fuck you. He's like, Overstock has an obligation to ensure a high stock price for their investors. And if they have to do something to ensure that high stock price to their investors and happens to hurt you, oh, boo-hoo. That's basically the overstock ruling. So FINRA can make the argument, they're like, oh, these guys who are buying and holding are hurting our feelings. Well, tough. You illegally naked short selling is hurting ours, right? So the only way to combat that naked short selling is with the buy and hold, and that's what we were doing. And they went around that buy and hold by issuing this super rare U3 on a domestic stock, which someone commented last night, like there's been like 237 U3s. Those are all on foreign stocks. There's only been like 3 others on U.S. domestic stocks ever done. And this is this is the 4th or this is the 3rd. I can't remember which. And Roza made the good point in her interview that there's certain rules for this U3 stock, and it's supposed to be applied to stocks that are, have infinite number of trading days, and that it was used on a stock that had a definitive end date, specifically to keep people from realizing their ability to trade in the last couple of days they're available. And yeah, they had since July to know about this. They've had 3 weeks since the S3 was approved to figure this out. They could have said when the S3 is approved, FINRA could have done a corporate action then saying, hey, for the next 3 weeks, it's closing only. They could have done it then. But they waited to do their corporate action until the Wednesday before it closed. And then they're like, oh yeah, oops. When they filed their the dog. You want your blanket? Okay, one sec. Sorry. She needs to go under her blanket. You have to get off your blanket first, ding dong. Okay, lay down. Whoop. There you go. That's a happy dog. And she's going to pull her blanket off. Good job. You just pulled your blanket off like a winner. There you go. All right. Okay. So, yes. Latinum. Public said that if you did a show on Sunday, I do a super chat, pay $100. Here you go. Thank you. I already forgot about that. So you could just totally reneged on that, and I would have never known. Yeah. All right. Here. There you go. Okay. But thank you. And then I get a nice big red latinum up there for the rest of the evening. Okay. Man, Roza, you got me giddy. That's what you got me. I'm so glad someone is able to file an injunction. I sent messages out to my lawyer friends who do corporate stuff, and I heard nothing. I was like, well, maybe I'll just ring the doorbell at K&L Gates and just barge in there and be like, do something, rich people. But yeah. Paul V wants to know, can there be multiple injunctions filed? Yes, because there's multiple owners. You can have lots of people file injunctions. And what may happen is they may look at Roza's injunction and go, okay, well, this judge ruled that way and then informed me this thing. So you have to make, perhaps if they rule against her for some reason, you may have to tweak the argument a bit to show something different to appeal to the judge, be my guess. Then again, I'm a science dork. I'm not a lawyer. I only do stuff in court reluctantly. So, yeah. Okay. John B. So short sellers sold fake synthetic shares of Acme and took money from counterparties who bought their fake shares. How is that not fraud? That is exactly fraud. That is facilitating fraud. So, yeah. And I hope Roza saw the Elaine Hensley SEA rule, because that looks like something could be argued as well. Excuse me, I'm a little burpy tonight. Okay. Randy Crocker, doesn't the 505 code prove collusion? Another excellent point. For those who remember the market maker codes, 505 means I'm short shares, and then went like crazy on Wednesday right towards the close. People just screaming I'm short shares via the 505 codes. Yeah, that right there is another example. That's another piece you can use. That they were short and they screamed it so Thursday afternoon, right before close, and hours before FINRA issued their U3. Lord Jameson Houston, is it possible insiders at Acme knew exactly what was going to happen and have had a solid plan for exactly what is unfolding? Or are you on the inside enough to know otherwise? I am not on the inside, and I don't know otherwise. I don't think anyone saw this halt coming, honestly. I think this was a blindside to everybody. Everyone was like, hey, looks like they're having to close. FINRA finally issued their corporate action, and shares got to close. I think that was what everyone was working on. And then when shares didn't close, they went, that's weird. A broker just said they were going to start closing on the 8th, and they didn't. And then halt. So that tells me that they didn't know this was coming. So, yeah.